Okay, this is for Algebra 1. This is a very quick video about geometric sequences. And it's for your 6-6 worksheet. But also, if you need to, you can also follow along in the book. I'm not going to write all these notes, but I'm going to write some notes. So you can write notes either on another piece of paper or on the back of this page if you'd like. So we're going to talk about geometric sequences. So before we had talked about arithmetic sequence, so something like this. So if it had 5, 1, -3, -7, like how is it changing? Our first term was 5, but then how is it changing from term to term? Well, this looks like, okay, that's going down by 4, that's going down by 4, that's going down by 4. When you add or subtract, that's going to be arithmetic sequence. So this is arithmetic sequence, which we've done before. But now we're going to look at sequences like this. When we have 3, 6, 12, 24. So this is our first term. That's our first term. Second, third, fourth. So how is this changing? Well, that can add 3 or multiply by 2. But if we keep going, notice it's multiplying by 2. So our common ratio is 2. Now sometimes it's not as easy to see what the common ratio is, so I'm going to show you what you can do to see it. So for example, if we have like 2,500, 500, 100, if you can't see, you normally, now that's going down, so don't write that as division, write that as multiplying by a fraction. So what you can do though, is if you don't see it right away, you can take the next term divided by the previous term. So what I mean by that is, if you can't see how it's changing, take 500, take the next term divided by the previous term. So then you say, okay, 500 to 2,500, well that's 1/5. So don't say divide by 5. Say your common ratio is, the common ratio is multiply, actually I should say multiply by 1/5. Okay, so your common ratio is multiplied by 1/5. Don't say dividing by 5. Okay, now we're going to look at how to use the geometric sequence to figure out like the nth term, meaning if we want to find the 100th term or the 20th term. So for example, if we have the first term, second term, this is the term number, and this is your like your y, so that's your x and that's like your y. So first term 1, second term 3, third term 9, fourth term is 27. Well, you can see here that the common ratio is 3, like you're multiplying by 3 each time. Well, I can keep doing this pattern if I want the 8th, it's something low, but if I wanted the 20th term, if I want the 20th term, I don't want to have to sit and write them all out. So think back to what we need to know. We need to know our first term, where we're starting, and what our ratio is. So this is like your exponential function. Your first term, sorry guys, people are going through the hall right now, and they're being loud. And how many times are we multiplying it? So this is not the formula, but this is going to be very, very similar to that. And in fact, your geometric sequence is going to look like this. So your AN, now in your arithmetic sequence, I did change this to a T because it's saying like what term number. So you might see A to the N equals A sub 1, and then the ratio, common ratio, N minus 1. So this formula is what you're going to use. So what you want to find is your first term. You need to know where you're starting. So this is your nth term. So we want to find, if we want to have an equation, basically this is what's going to happen. So writing the nth term, meaning if I can want to find any term, then you're going to have times your 1, or whatever your first number is, times your ratio. Well, our common ratio is 3, and then it's like n minus 1, because we already have the first term. So here would be the equation for the nth term. And then now let's say we want to find the 20th term. So if we want to find the 20th term, you would put in the 20 say the 20th term. 1 is still our starting point. 3 is still what we're multiplying over and over again. Now it's 20 minus 1. So we're going to have 1 times 3 to the 19th power. Now I did not bring my calculator out here with me, so I don't know what that is. But you're going to do 3 to the 19th power times 1 to find the 20th term in that sequence. Okay, so this formula is very similar to our exponential growth formula, or exponential function formula. But you need the common where you're starting. Your B is really your common ratio, like what are you multiplying by each time? And since you're doing over and over again, that's why we're doing it as an exponent. So then figure that first, times 1 is going to be the same thing, so whatever that answer is. Okay, so your goal is to complete this sheet. Pay attention to the questions because some of them are just asking what the common ratio is. Again, take that, if you can't see it, take that, the second number divided by the first number and just see if it is common. And determine if it's arithmetic, geometric, or neither. And decide your graphing, just looking to see if it's going to be linear or exponential. This one, the next 3 terms in the sequence, you do not need a graph. Write an equation. So this is where you're going to use this information. Okay, I hope that helps. Do this for Tuesday. Wednesday, and it's due Thursday. So you may get that done.